One thing that I like to do on my free time is just take a look on my Discord server or other Discord servers just to see if there's someone that needs some help regarding general gameplay tips or team optimizations or even build optimizations. And I noticed that a lot of you like to do the exact same thing. You just post a screenshot from your HoYoLab app or Enka network and ask the following question: is this build good enough? Or how can I make this build better? And I'm going to be really honest, this question is really bad and pointless because we don't have the full scope of how you play the game. I'm not talking about your skill itself, even though skill is definitely going to increase your damage score. You're not asking for this, you're just asking about your build. But even for your build, we need to have more information because there are a lot of different things that change how you should approach your build optimization. There are 3 different ways you can increase the damage. The first one, of course, is going to be a skill, but not everyone is going to put a lot of hours just to improve their gameplay and get a better score on a game. The second one would be build optimization. That's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. And the third one would be, of course, getting character mindscapes. They add some extra power for your character. And not to mention that sometimes they also change how you should approach the build optimization. But in case you're looking to get some character mindscapes, today's sponsor has a message for you. Listen, we both know how important it is when it comes to saving money on these gacha games, and that's where LDShop comes in. LDShop.gg is a top-up platform that offers massive discounts and good prices for a lot of different games, including Zone Zero. All you need is your server and the UID, and you're good to go. You just select what you want to buy, you up everything here, you press top up, and then you're going to get a confirmation detail page. Make sure everything here is correct because, of course, you want to get your polychromes and your internet membership, right? You just wait a little bit, and your polychromes are going to be delivered to your account that fast. Look at this. And you know there's double top-up bonuses that you get on the first time you buy one of those monochrome packs. LDShop got you covered because they can trigger the double top bonus for you. And the best part is that whenever you spend $80 in a single month, you get a coupon that allows you to get one of those monthly memberships for free, even in an internet membership, as you can see right here. Register your account using my link down in the description and you get a 15 and a 5% coupon that allows you to save up to $50. So stop wasting time and start saving money using LDShop. Thanks LDShop for sponsoring this video. Okay, so you want to optimize your build. Now, how you should do this? There are many different ways, and one way, for example, is simply going into the game and testing different discs and see exactly what is going to give more damage for you. This is really time consuming, which is why probably a lot of you just go into someone's guide and watch their build section of the video and just want to see exactly what you should use on your disc 4, disc 5, disc 6, and close the video. But there are so many other things that you need to keep in mind besides just looking at the main stat. All right, because for example, let's say you go into the VR mode and you decide to test your Yesheng-1 damage, and you're going to say, oh, this one is the best combination for me. If you're only using Yesheng-1, this is already kind of flawed because the problem is that you're never going to use just Yesheng-1 on the end game content. You have a full team of characters, and all of these characters, they are providing different buffs, different things for not only themselves, but also for other characters on your squad. So for example, here's a quick calculation using just solo Yesheng-1. You're going to notice here that crit damage, and attack is one of the best options. Damage is like really massive right here. But once you add other characters on your team, with Dialing and Zhao, for example, which is one of the best Yesheng-1 teams, you're going to notice that damage suddenly goes all the way down, and penetration is one of the best things for you to use on your slot 5. That's because Dialing already provides a lot of damage, a lot of crit damage as well. Zhao is also providing damage, a lot of extra attack. So all of these things changes the balance. It's really important to understand that when it comes to dealing damage, you need to have a good balance between all of possible multipliers. I have a full video where I go over the damage calculation. Here, I'm just focusing on how you can optimize your build, but if you're really interested to learn how the damage actually works, I highly recommend checking out this video because I've seen some people even saying that just because the enemy is ice weak, you should always use ice damage because the enemy being ice weak makes ice damage better. That's just not how it works. So in case you want to learn how it works, then you should definitely go check this video. All right, but back to the optimization stuff. All right, so this is an example using Dialing and Zhao. Now let's assume that you decide to change Dialing and use her somewhere else. And now you need to play Yesheng-1 with Astra and Zhao. Take a look on how the numbers change just because it replaced dialing with Astra. Remember that dialing was providing a lot of crit damage for your Yeshengguan? Well, now with Astra, we don't have access to all of this crit damage. So this changes the value on your disc 4, for example. The disc 5 is still the same thing. You still have a lot of attack, you still have a lot of damage. So since you don't have penetration or any way to deal with the enemy defense, well, this makes penetration a really good option for your slot 5. But there's even more than just taking a look on your team. As I said before, we also need to take into consideration the boss that you're fighting. I feel that a really good example right now is that we have a brand new boss on Deadly Assault, and this boss has different stats. Just like Wandering Hunter has higher base defense, this one has the complete opposite, which is lower base defense. And because of this, take a look here. Penetration suddenly drops all the way because of the lower defense. So there are so many things that you need to track just to make sure that you're always going to achieve the optimal damage. And not to mention that Deadly Assault buffs, they are also going to impact on your final damage. For example, if we add the Focus Energy buff, penetration goes even lower. So there's so many things that you need to track. And by this point, you're probably looking at the number and thinking to yourself, wait, I'm doing all of this just for 0.8% damage? Yes. Eventually it gets to the point where trying to optimize your damage becomes really minimal, to the point where only the people that are going to notice this damage difference are those looking to get the 65,000 points, the maximum score, the kills on Deadly Assault, or those players that are really struggling to get the 20k and need this extra damage, this small amount of damage, to make sure that they are going to hit the 20k. That's why there's also something else that you need to keep track, and I would say that is even more important than trying to optimize your build around these main stats. Because whenever I say that, hey, you should use penetration on your build, people just go straight up, look for a penetration disc, and just slap on their DPS. And the substats are like HP, flat HP, defense, and flat defense. Substats are really important. They add a lot of damage. Just for you to have an idea, a quick calculation about how much damage each substat is going to give to you. And this is assuming a 36 substats Yeshengguan. All right. If we go even lower, let's assume that you're struggling to get your crit rate, you're struggling to get your crit damage, you're going to notice that the value that each substat row is going to give for you is even higher than just adjusting your main stat. As you can see right here, each substat gives you around 1% of increased damage. So basically this means that even though crit damage is better than attack, if your attack disc has more substats than your crit damage disc, then attack is going to be better. All right, so substats are really important for you and something that you always should keep in mind. A really good example that I have here is my Nekomata build, because a lot of people look at this build and they think to themselves, Muzzy, what are you doing? You have an 85% crit rate Nekomata with 138% crit damage. This is wrong. You don't know that you should aim for 1 to 2 for every point of crit rate. You should have 2 points of crit damage. Remember that I just said, if you use dialing, you have access to a lot of crit damage. So this is exactly what I use with my Nekomata. Whenever I play Nekomata, I use dialing and Nicole. So Nicole is giving me the final crit rate, and dialing is giving me a lot of extra crit damage. Not to mention that a lot of different bosses also give me crit damage. Take a look on the new boss and also Miasma Priest. They both give another 60% crit damage for your DPS. So these are all things that you need to take into account. Once I add all of these possible buffs to my Nekomata, you can see that the calculation shows that using these stats is actually much better than swapping my disc 4 to crit damage, even though using a crit damage 4 would look much better on the agent page. So this is actually a really good build. It doesn't look so, but it's actually an optimized build. This is the kind of build that you're going to see whenever I'm trying to do dual clears or stuff, and I'm using a character that already provides crit damage buffs. If I'm using a character that provides attack, then you're going to notice lower attack and higher crit damage. So by this point, having a general guideline of how you should build your character is really hard, because every single Deadly Assault rotation they are going to have different bosses, and every single account is going to be different. Every player is going to use different characters for different bosses. So let's say, for example, you're using your Yeshengguan. If I say that the best option in general is going to be penetration, and then you use your Yeshengguan against the new boss, you're going to notice a lower score. And this is simply because penetration against this new boss in specific is pretty bad. But if I say to you to use damage or attack and then you fight anything that is not the new boss, then you're going to notice that penetration is the best option. So having a general guideline when it comes to build, a rule of thumb, is really hard nowadays because of all these different bosses that the game keep getting. The best way for you, the best general advice is simply try to get as many substats as you can. Substats adds a lot of damage to your build, adds a lot of damage to your character. So having a good number of substats is always the best thing you can do. And as you saw on the numbers, sometimes they add much more than just picking the right main stat. Alright, so just to give a TLDR, main stats are good. Finding the main stat for your build, for your team, is really important. But more important than this is also having a lot of substats. And lastly, my final advice is that asking questions is completely fine, but it's important to know how to ask questions. Because simply dropping your Hoyo lab or your build and asking for someone, is this good enough? This doesn't give the full scope of what you're trying to achieve. Next time that you're asking someone of how you can optimize your build, it's going to be really helpful for everyone if you can be really specific, right? For example, instead of just saying, how can I make my Miyabi better? Try asking, I'm playing Mono Ice and I'm trying to use my Miyabi against Wandering Hunter. Is this build good enough, or how can I get a better score? Is there something here I can change to get a better score? And all of these things are going to give enough information for the people that are trying to help you to actually give a better answer for you. But being really vague, especially nowadays with these lot of different bosses, is not going to be really helpful. And sometimes you're going to end up having the wrong answer for your question, which can be really bad for you and a waste of time for both the person trying to help you and you that is trying to get a better score or just your 3-star on Deadly Assault. Hope this video could help you understand a little bit of how optimization works. And if you want to use this tool that I use for all my calculations, you can check the link down in the description. This is a free calculator that I provide for everyone that you can use to do your calculations and see exactly what is going to be better for you. But you can also just join my Discord server and ask some questions there. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.